Chauncey Lynn and Justin Turner. It is a review hearing. I know Mr. Sommerfeld is here. Mr. Gilo, I thought I saw, is Mr. Gilo here still?
He is here.
Okay, Mr. Gilo is a guardian ad litem is here, and Mr. Delaney representing the mother is here. Ms. Drago is also here. Mr. Sommerfeld, how would you like to proceed?
Judge, I'd like to identify some documents and then call Jordan Casey.
All right, if you'd go ahead, please.
Thank you. I do have a dispositional review hearing report. This was signed by Ms. Casey on February 5th of 2025. I have a one-page document. This pertains to respondent mother, Mr. Gu. It looked like taking drug screens and going to a health clinic. It starts out in May 2nd of 2024 and ends with December 11th of 2024. It's just a one-page document. It has really no other identifiers, but it does pertain to Miss Sherwood Drago. I also have a case service plan. The report period is September 6th of 2024 through December 4th of 2024. I move to admit all those documents, Judge.
Mr. Gilo and Mr. Delaney, any objections to them?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, they are admitted. Ms. Casey, if you'd raise your right hand, please. And you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Casey, can you state your name, please, and spell your last name?
Jordan Casey, Casey.
And how are you employed?
I am a foster care worker with the Crawford / Sego County Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay, are you familiar with Chauncey Lynn and Justin Turner?
Yes.
And how so?
I've been their caseworker for about 5 months or so, 5-6 months.
Okay, and the reporting case service plan, you did author that?
I did.
And the other document I identified doesn't really have a heading. Did I describe it accurately as pertaining to Miss Sherwood Drago and about services with taking drug screens and going to drug counseling?
Yeah, I would say mostly accurate. It was an Excel sheet that I just made for myself and thought that maybe it would be helpful for the court to see Mylene's attendance within the Bowen Center where she gets most of her services from. I had received a stack of documents about an inch tall from the Bowen Center, and one of the things I wanted to kind of filter out was, okay, how often is she attending? Is she attending as often as it's being recommended? So I started to make this spreadsheet for myself. So it includes her individual counseling, her addictions counseling, a couple of group counseling groups, including Seeking Safety and the Matrix group. And then there's also drug screens in there, and then psychiatric medication reviews. So a whole lot of things, just trying to keep track of everything and make sure that it's all occurring as recommended.
Okay, so that was just your creation more for like organization of a lot of documents.
Yes, and just trying to create a record. So I thought that it might be helpful for attorneys in the court to have that as well.
Okay, I'd like to talk about mom here and how is she doing in the area or the need domain of substance abuse?
I think I rated that as partial.
Do you
I don't have it right. I don't have it right in front of me.
Oh, okay. Do you? I see a gap in attending group counseling. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. Can you speak? Why was there a gap from October till like October and November of last year and picking up again or starting in December?
Yeah, so that seems to be a trend that I noticed when I created that Excel sheet. a lot, and Mylene also reported that to me as well during a family team meeting, that she had a manic episode as part of her bipolar disorder, and she reported to me that she stopped attending most of her counseling and her groups for about a month and a half to 2 months, depending on the group, and including AA and NA. So she reported that she was able to utilize her supports and her services and get back on her medications, and was ready to start attending groups again. I think we had that meeting towards the end of November, if I'm recalling correctly. And then I cannot recall if what specific time frame I requested those records for that are included in my spreadsheet. So she may very well have started attending again since December more frequently. I'm not entirely sure. I have to request those records again. It takes a lot of time to get those. So I'm not sure if she's attending consistently right now, but there was a lapse in October, November, and December on a lot of those services.
Okay, so substance abuse, and you're rating it as partial progress.
I think that's what I rated it as. That would make sense to me today.
Okay, how about the need domain of emotional stability and behavior?
I'm pretty sure I also rated that as partial.
Okay. Specifically in your court report that she's had minimal progress with the DBT and CBT counseling.
Yeah, the documents that I received reported her progress as minimal. I have every intention of following up with her counselors on that, because it doesn't really explain necessarily why her progress is reported as minimal, but that is a consistent rating across all of the reports.
Okay, and so parenting skills, I know in all of the need domains you've identified the reasonable efforts. How would you rate parenting skills?
I would probably say that's partial as well.
Okay, there's also a notation that Chauncey Lynn kind of ends phone calls or contact early because of a preoccupation between Mr. Sherwood Drago and her husband. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so Chauncey has phone calls every weekend on Saturdays, normally at 2 with her mom. That's at least the scheduled date that we have for it. Doesn't always occur. Sometimes they move it around. But Chauncey has reported to me a lot of frustration with her mom's preoccupation with other things while she's on the phone with mom. So one time it was dinner, one time well, multiple times it was her husband, that Mylene seems to be paying more attention to the things around her instead of Chauncey on the phone calls. So Chauncey has been, she just reported to me she's frustrated with that. She also is frustrated with the fact that her mom has her phone number and had contacted her directly on her phone. It had been agreed based on Chauncey's request that Mylene would not contact her directly. Chauncey was very surprised, and it made her nervous. She does not want her mom to have a direct line of communication with her at this point, and everybody, including mom, was fine with that. So we're not really quite sure what happened there, but Chauncey did decide to block her mom's number until a point where she's ready to have that direct contact with her. So that's
That was a mistake. I accidentally did that.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you, ma'am. Hold on, you'll get a chance to speak, though.
So the procedure is essentially Mylene is to contact Joni on Saturdays, Joni being foster mom, to do that phone call, and then Mylene should be calling. So she's just frustrated. She feels like she's not being heard by mom at this point. It's a tough situation. but for both Chauncey and mom,
Okay.
trying to navigate it.
Now, your report indicates there's only been one in-person contact between Miss Sherwood Drago and Chauncey Lynn.
That's correct.
Okay, and Justin, the older boy who's now 18, he doesn't, what's his level of contact with his mom?
There is none.
Okay. So is there been any talk about having more in-person contact? I mean, only one time in this case thus far?
Yes, Mylene is aware that we are expecting her to have some more in-person contact with Chauncey in order to work towards reunification. It's tough because Mylene is in Indiana, and so coming up here is going to be costly. So my supervisor and I had been exploring options such as bus tickets and paying for gas cards, possibly meeting halfway. And we were actually looking at doing a more thorough deep dive of that recently because Mylene does not have a vehicle. So if she did get gas cards, she would have to borrow a vehicle from somebody. And if she were to take a bus, which those websites are very difficult to navigate, it could potentially be a 17-hour trip one way. So we're just trying to look at what options we could possibly have at this point.
Okay, and let's talk about Justin. He's in the Michigan Youth Opportunities Initiative.
No, he has not taken the steps to sign up for MYOI. Neither has Chauncey at this point. Neither kid is really interested in it. I haven't pushed it a ton because they are getting independent living skills from their foster parents. They seem to be, learning typical things like money management, cooking, preventative health care, stuff like that. But they are receiving the emails every month that our MYOI coordinator sends out. Even without being in MYOI, they still qualify for the youth and transition funding. And foster mom is diligent in working with our MYOI coordinator in utilizing that when it's appropriate.
Okay, and what is Justin's permanency goal?
APLA.
Okay, and your report indicates that he has a strong relationship with his foster dad. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, it took quite some time, but Justin seems to have accepted that he has parental figures at this point in his life. He didn't feel that he previously had any parental figures. He was used to kind of like autonomy. So last spring, he had asked foster dad Kyle to go with him to a school baseball meeting, which was a huge deal. It was the first time he'd requested Kyle be involved in a parental role in his life. And since then, especially since turning 18 and finding out that the foster parents were not going to ask him to leave. So he had been concerned that I believe he had been concerned that foster parents were going to kick him out after he turned 18, and they've only doubled down and recommitted to him and told him he can stay absolutely as long as he needs. And he's finally really seeming to trust that. So I would even include foster mom in that. And Joni actually was the one to sign the permanency pact for the APLA goal that I've sent in, only because Kyle isn't as easily available for visits. So Kyle's going to sign the permanency pact as well, but we only need one to actually request the goal be approved by our higher ups. So Joni signed that. So, and everybody was really excited. They kind of kept it minimal, like their excitement, but it was a really big deal signing all of that.
Okay, and so placement for Justin at the foster home is it's going very well.
Very well.
Okay, and let's talk about Chauncey Lynn. What is her current goal?
Reunification.
Okay, and how does Chauncey Lynn, does she have any thoughts about that goal with reunification with her mom?
Yes, she is very against reunification. there was over the summer when we had that in-person visit between Mylene and Chauncey, Mylene had actually communicated to myself and to foster mom that she wanted Chauncey to essentially choose what her future was going to look like. That she wanted Chauncey to have whatever kind of permanency that she wanted. So that prompted myself to have a very in-depth conversation with Chauncey about adoption and a juvenile guardianship and what Chauncey would want as a permanent option. I normally wouldn't have that conversation so in-depth so early in a case. I believe we only had about 6 months post adjudication at that time, so I think it was around December. And Chauncey knew what Mylene had said to Joni and me, so she was very excited about the prospect of adoption. That's what she wanted. She still wants that. I since had a meeting with Mylene, and she had changed her mind on those things. She wanted to pursue reunification. And so we had let Chauncey know about that, and she's very upset because she feels that that was kind of pulled out from under her, and she's still, in her mind, she's planning to be adopted at this point. She has no desire to be reunified with mom. She understands that this is a reunification case and that we are required to make efforts towards reunification, but she said she's just willing to wait until she can be adopted.
Now, Chauncey Lynn is engaged in counseling with Bridget Goss.
Yes.
And what is the nature of that counseling?
I'm not sure what you're asking, like frequency and what they discuss, or
I mean, what is it for? I mean, like, what are they discussing?
okay, so like their goals are essentially processing Chauncey's trauma. A lot of that focuses right now, a lot of it focuses on mom and what Chauncey's desire is for permanency versus what she's able to have access to right now. I know that they talk a lot about the visits with mom and process them, and then also prepare for the next one.
All right, so you're asking to continue the goal of APLA for Justin and reunification for Chauncey Lynn?
Yes.
Okay, and we're also recommending that we don't have to provide services to, well, I mean, dad's rights are, are terminated. So what are you asking in recommendation to?
So I need a specific court order that states that we are no longer required to provide services to dad Justin, because he is technically still a respondent on kid Justin's case because his goal is APLA. So I need an order stating that that we don't have to provide him services any longer, so that it essentially, I'm not required to do home visits with him and not required to create a parent agency treatment plan for him.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to offer?
No.
All right, I have nothing further, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Delaney.
There was quite a bit of territory covered, so I'll try to harness it a little bit. On the list of issues that you went through, is there a number one that's most important for the path of reunifying?
No, I would say no, because all of those things are going to be required for reunification, and we're 4 months away from it being a year. So really all of those things should be happening in full force right now. I will say that studies show that parenting time is the best predictor of reunification. So you could argue that in-person parenting time is the most important service that we can offer at this point. But really, it all needs to be happening.
It was a partial on the substance abuse, but I discern that you're not concerned that she's using illegal substances, but you're looking for more consistent record keeping That's the question. Do you think she's using illegal substances?
The drug screens do not reflect her use of illegal substances since May of last year. That said, I don't have any records since mid-December of last year. So I do think that if she used, she would report it to us because she has historically. I would say as far as substance use, the THC, it's being recommended by her providers that she should not be using THC. So that is, and I'm not actually sure if that's a illegal or not in Indiana. So that could play into things. And then additionally, the pause in services is a problem. They need to be more consistent.
Two more questions. First, do you believe that Mylene understands the areas that need addressing? Do you think she's accepting that concept?
Yes.
And then the final question, you mentioned 4 months, it'll be a year. Have you talked to Mylene about the ticking clock, if you will, that after a period of time, the goal changes if there's not progress to a request for termination, not necessarily termination, but a request. Have you had that discussion with her?
No, that is, I mean, she's aware of a timeline that we have, but we haven't had the, okay, we're getting close to the end here. We need to really amp things up, conversation. I was hoping to have some ideas put together for parenting time before I had that conversation with Mylene. So that is something that I was planning to do at our next family team meeting.
All right. And I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilo.
I have no questions as this witness.
All right. Mr. Sommerfeld, any further proofs?
No, thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Delaney,
No further questions. Thank you.
any further, did you wish to have any proofs?
Yes, I would call, if you're asking me, I will.
Yes.
I will call Mylene.
All right, Mr. Dragoo, if you'd raise your right hand, please. And do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, counsel.
Mylene, I also want to harness my questions with you also, and let's take them one at a time if there are any. Anything that you disagree with or that you want the court to be aware of relative to the things that the department was reporting weren't complete?
No, I think Jordan's pretty accurate. I struggle with my mental health. I've been doing good the last few months. There has been a consistency the last few months if she wants to pull the records on that. I've missed seeking safety for the last 2 weeks, but I was in the hospital. I did not know that Chauncey had a problem with our phone calls. Now that has been brought to my attention, I will make sure to do better with that. If things are brought to my attention more often, then I can correct them more often and things can be changed and fixed. But if they're not brought to my attention, then I can't fix anything.
The second thing is, there's no absolute strict time frame, but it is sand through an hourglass. And so you understand at some point the department would have to come to you to say, we're not getting these goals achieved. They need to be achieved. And if they don't get achieved within X period of time, then we have to ask the court to go in a different direction, which would be requesting termination. That may or may not happen, but did you understand that obviously these cases don't sit out there for years and years?
Right. I didn't know that time was coming up shortly.
And then the final thing, is there anything we haven't covered that you wanted to say? I wish the court knew about this. I want the court to be aware of something I'm doing that is good that wasn't discussed.
No, I think we have it all covered.
Okay, no further questions.
I am saving for a vehicle. I just bought a new house, so, to accommodate children, I just bought a 3-bedroom. And it's taken a little bit more of my money. So it's a little bit harder to save for a vehicle. There's more bills here than there was at the 1-bedroom apartment. I'm not struggling, but it's difficult to save up the money for the vehicle more so than it was when I didn't have the house.
And did you let Jordan Casey know that change?
Yeah, I
Financial?
did.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sommerfeld.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Yes, Judge. Miss Sherwood Drago, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Didn't Jordan Casey, the foster care worker, didn't she email you about the issues of the parenting time issue that Chauncey Lynn had about, calling her on the her private cell phone?
Did she?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have not checked my email. If she did, then I did not know that.
Okay. All right. So,
And I did not mean to place that phone call. When I went to call Joni, I accidentally hit Chauncey's. It was an accident. I did not mean to call Chauncey.
all right. Well, what is your goal here? I mean, if you've only had one in-person visit and it doesn't sound like you have the best of relationship with Chauncey Lynn, where do you think this is going? How is it going to get better with you living in Indiana and Chauncey Lynn's up here in northern Michigan?
I'm not sure how it's gonna work out, but I know I'm not gonna give up.
Okay. Do you have plans to come up here? I know Miss Casey talked about potentially a bus ride or gas cards.
Yeah, that's why I'm saving for a vehicle. I need $1,500 to put down. I have almost 1,000 now. Well, I have 850 right now. 1,500 down gets me a car. From Right Way for 390 a month. I have it figured out. I have to get the money saved. I was just in the hospital for 2 weeks. I'm doing the best I can to try to get up there to see her. My husband, I've tried to talk him into letting me use the car. He refuses, so
Did did you think about like getting a house is wouldn't all those extra expenses that it's interfering with reunification with Chauncey Lynn?
no, actually, I thought for some reason that the house should come before the car, and now that I got the house, I think the car should have came before the house. But it's a little late to change it now.
Okay. And Mi- Miss Casey's report talked about that you relapsed back in late October of last year. Was that with substances or with mental health?
Both.
And what did you relapse with?
Methamphetamines.
Was that just a one-time thing or did it go over a period of time?
No, it was actually just a 1-day thing. It was just 1 day. I was able to pull myself out of it, and actually go into a mental health treatment facility.
And have you been working on those issues of, that caused the relapse in your counseling or therapy?
Yeah, I have a relapse prevention plan as well that's posted up on my refrigerator.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilo.
No questions, Judge.
All right, any further proofs from any attorney?
No, Judge.
No, thank you.
All right, the relief sought, Mr. Summerfeld, is basically a continuation of the goal of reunification plus APLA for Justin Jr.
That's correct. And also, if the court could write a specific order for Ms. Casey regarding that the department does not have to provide services to Justin's father. If the court remembers, he only
Right.
voluntarily terminated on his daughter, and then Justin aged out. He is 18. So, but she needs that specific order because he's still technically a parent and his rights were not terminated to Justin.
All right, Mr. Gilo, any objections to that order?
No, Judge.
Okay, it does seem appropriate. The court will sign that. It is authorized. All right, Mr. Delaney, comments as to what you think the court should do?
I have no objection to the continued plan of reunifying. I think Mylene has heard quite a bit today about what direction she's expected to be going in, even with some relapses. So hopefully she's taking that into consideration, and also the time factors that are involved.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Gilo.
The only thing I'd like to add is that the foster care mother, she reports that both kids are doing well, getting good grades. There is phone calls, but they're very minimal. And the biggest issue is Chauncey. She does not want to talk to her mom. She doesn't want anything to do with her mom. So I just state that for the record.
All right, thank you. Ms. Drago, anything else you wanted to say?
No.
All right, Ms. Casey, I think it was implicit. I just want to make sure the two children, Chauncey and Justin, they're in the same residence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. First of all, as to Justin, APLA would continue. It's appropriate. I'm glad he's doing well. I can see that why he might have been a little reluctant, just what's going to happen to me when I turn 18. But I commend the foster parents for giving him that security. That's there. We need parenting time during that. Ms. Drago, the timeline is important. Since I'm just speaking as a magistrate now, or as a referee and not as a judge, because I would not be hearing any petition for termination of parental rights that would come in front of another judge. I can be a bit more direct, excuse me, a bit more direct on that. This is an important time period. There'll probably be a permanency plan hearing in July, if not before. That's what, 5 months down the road. And it is hard. I've seen that all the time when somebody's out of state. It's just really hard to do it. Ms. Casey is absolutely correct that a visitation is the biggest indicator, and it's the hardest one. I mean, I commend you. It sounds like you're doing really pretty good on the substances, and you've got a good grasp of your issues. I'd rather there not be that lapse. But I can tell you, the problem is going to be with Chauncey. The only way to get her to want to come back is to develop that relationship with her. And that's really has to be done in person. I don't say that as a matter of law, but really it's just the way you build a relationship with somebody to be there. And I know that it's hard. I know also though that Ms. Casey is going to come up with some ideas, and we'll talk to you a little bit more about the time period, but also whether it be a bus or gas card or something else. But that is what I would put my attention to. Keep on doing the rest, keep making progress, and you are, but you really have to deal with the rest of that as quickly as you can. So I commend you on getting a house once again on the substance abuse situation, but Chauncey needs a mom, and she needs to know that she can rely on you. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough situation.
Thank you.
So with that, I will continue the goal of reunification, schedule this matter for another review hearing. And I guess we'll just see what happens at that time. Counsel, anything else we can do?
No, Judge, nothing.
No, thank you.
Okay,
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much. That does conclude this matter.